Oh my God, man, this team is so frustrating. Why? You listen, credit to the Buffalo Sabres. They played pretty much flawless hockey for the first 40 minutes of that game. Yes, the Oilers stunk. They were terrible, but I do have to give credit to the Sabres. They played really good hockey for 40 minutes. The Oilers, they pressed in the third. They scored 3. McDavid ties it with 1.9 seconds left. And then everyone in overtime decides they don't know how to play hockey anymore for the first 30 seconds. And then Tuck wins it on a goal that I think Stuart Skinner would want back. Tough to blame your goalie when you were down 3-0 at one point, though, Edmonton, due to a lack of whatever you want to call it, a lack of effort, and also Buffalo just suffocating the team. Oh, there's going to be so much blame in this one. People are going to point the finger at Skinner. They're going to point the finger at Bouchard. They're going to point the finger at McDavid in overtime. They're going to point the finger at Leon in overtime. Whatever the case is, you cannot just point the finger at one individual player. I, tonight, am pointing the finger at the entire team because they were down 3-0 after 40 minutes. You do not deserve to win a hockey game when you were down 3-0 after 40 minutes, and you didn't decide to even try and generate any kind of sustained offensive pressure until the third period. You are not going to win enough hockey games doing that, and it's frustrating because this team has been playing pretty good as of late. I've talked about it in a lot of my videos. Basically, over the last 10 games, their expected goals metrics are positive. Their goals for at 5-on-5 is even. They've been very good on special teams, save for tonight. They probably needed at least one kill tonight, would have been great, and maybe an extra power play goal would have been fantastic. But again, it's just a microcosm of how this game went. This team has not been consistent enough all season long to get the benefit that they have turned things around. You know, fans, we deserve to be excited and happy when they blow out their opposition. Edmonton is coming off of 2 fantastic games where they beat the Seattle Kraken 9-4, and they beat the, oh my goodness gracious, why am I brain farting on who they beat 6-2? The Winnipeg Jets. Goodness gracious, what is my brain doing? Just completely forgot who Edmonton played 2 nights ago. They've been playing better hockey, inspired hockey, scoring goals, and we deserve to feel good after those games. But games like tonight remind me personally, I don't know if it reminds all of you, it reminds me personally why it's a long season, why you can't just take a night off, why you can't just coast and hope that your superstars can just find a way. Now, they can find a way. They almost did it tonight. Connor McDavid almost single-handedly found a way to get this team a win tonight. But at the end of the day, as a team, got to be better. The bottom 6 tonight was just horrible, just putrid. A bottom 6 that looked like they were starting to turn the corner. My apologies for my voice. Bottom 6 where it really did look like they were starting to turn the corner. Curtis Lazar scored the other night. Tomashik scored the other night. Tonight, just horrible. Adam Henrique, bad penalty in the third period. And the bottom 6 was just not engaged. I think the best bottom 6 forward tonight was Curtis Lazar, out there on the 5-on-3 penalty kill. And then he was also throwing his weight around too. I think he had 4 hits or something tonight. Curtis Lazar, when he's your best player in the bottom 6, big problems, right? Because you have Janmark down there. You have Mangiapane. Hello, where's Mangiapane at these days? No goals in 16 games for Mangiapane. Uh-oh. You have Henrique. You have Tomashek. You have Trent Frederick. Hello, where's Trent Frederick? Wake up, Trent Frederick. Where are you? Listen, I'm not putting the blame on the bottom 6. I'm just saying that the bottom 6 tonight is a big reason why the team wasn't able to get anything going. But the big guns are also to blame, especially in that overtime. I want to take a look at the overtime goal on the Edge visualizer. Then we'll go over some of the box stats. We'll go over the money puck, and then we're going to end things off. I am exhausted from watching this game. At the end of the day, at least it was exciting. At least it was exciting hockey. Now, a lot of fans, you're probably going to ask me to comment on the officiating. All I'll say was that the refs tried to take over the game in the third period. Bad calls on both sides. I'm not saying that the officiating cost Edmonton the game. I'm not saying that the officiating cost Buffalo in regulation. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying that the officiating was just... it wasn't good. It was the ref show for the final 10 minutes of that third period. But at the end of the day, like I said, Edmonton, get down 3-0. You're not going to win a lot of hockey games, and you don't deserve to win. You do not deserve to win when you're down 3-0 after 40 minutes, and they're lucky they got a point. They are absolutely lucky they got a point tonight. Now let's take a look at the edge visualizer for the overtime goal, because so many things happened in that overtime. Now, you can't see the beginning of the OT. I'll just kind of show where this puck is. It starts off in the neutral zone, and Edmonton, they have proper coverage, right? McDavid, he's got 26th. Draisaitl's got McLeod, and then nobody's really covering Tuck because he's doing that circle round play where he's going to come in from the back. Now, Draisaitl should be recognizing what might happen there, especially with Tuck on the ice, but he doesn't. Now, you have Bouchard. He's looking to his left. He sees, okay, Draisaitl is on number 26. Fine. McDavid's in front of me. He'll probably cover middle of the ice. So for Bouchard, I think his logic is, I'm going to try and cut off Ryan McLeod, who's skating to his right now. Just a millisecond later, Bouchard goes, I am going to cut off this lane, which in and of itself is not a bad play as long as he has proper coverage from his forwards. Now, with Bouchard heading into the corner to cut off McLeod, Draisaitl's also chasing. So because Draisaitl starts chasing here, Bouchard should be able to recognize, oh, Draisaitl's going to take Ryan McLeod. Maybe I'll just cover the middle of the ice and we'll have McDavid, Draisaitl cover these two forwards or these two players. But that's not the case. Bouchard, again, there's still lots of time here for Bouchard to recognize and get into the middle of the ice. There's time for McDavid to see what's happening. Two players, right? There's only three of you on the ice in overtime time. You see two of them. Maybe McDavid should be going, maybe I should just cover this inner slot area. Maybe I should just be responsible. Maybe I should be yelling and communicating something to one of them. That's not what McDavid does. You know what McDavid does here? McDavid decides, I'm going to also chase into this corner. Look at it. Who is he chasing? Where is he going? Why is he doing that? Now, fans are going to get mad at Bouchard for this, but I don't put all the blame on Bouchard. There's a piece of this is on Bouchard, and a piece of it is on Draisaitl, but this is Connor McDavid's man. This is where Connor McDavid, he had to have known both of his players on the ice, his teammates, were following McLeod into the corner, and hey, good for McLeod. He baited two players into the corner in 3-on-3 overtime, and that leaves Tuck wide open. For some strange reason, McDavid goes, I'm not going to cover anyone. I refuse to cover anyone. The logic from Evan Bouchard, I can understand, and the logic from Draisaitl going to cover the centerman who he took the face-off against, if they're doing man-on-man, I don't know what their actual defensive responsibilities are in 3-on-3, but none of them decided to be defensively responsible in the 3-on-3, and that leaves Tuck wide open. And again, this is a save where you want Stu to make it because it's through the 5-hole, stick on the ice, maybe try and dive and get a poke check. But if Stu just recognizes the threat earlier, he might have been able to cut that pass off from even getting there. We're going to watch this again. I know it's probably frustrating for a lot of you. You don't want me to talk about this anymore because we've all seen it a million times and we don't want to see it anymore. But this is where Stuart Skinner, he should see the threat. He should be able to recognize, okay, he's in position. He's looking at McLeod, and he's got to be scanning the ice as a goalie. He's got to be scanning the ice. He's got to know that McDavid, Bouchard, and Draisaitl, they're all in no man's land, and he should be prepared for a puck to come into the middle of the ice. This puck comes through the middle. Now, a diving poke check there, maybe, okay, I'm wrong. You can't just poke check the puck, the pass. But as this puck comes in, Stu, I don't know, it's frustrating. Frustrating. It's not on Stu, right? This is not all on Stu. Would have liked the save, and I'm just frustrated because the team did fight really hard to tie that game late, and they didn't get that one save that they needed. And the power play tonight, 0 for 4. That is also a major factor why this team did not win this hockey game. They had their looks, they had their chances, and credit to the Sabres, they managed to get the 2 points. The Oilers only get 1. If we take a look at the money puck here, I have to scroll all the way up. Oh my goodness gracious, let's scroll all the way up. The deserve to win-o-meter is in Buffalo's favor. They had quite a few looks from the inner slot tonight. Edmonton, a lot of these chances came in the third period. Buffalo with the 3-0 lead. McDavid, Podkolzin, and McDavid again in regulation to tie it up late. McDavid tied it with 1.9 seconds left. But if you take a look at the Oilers, after the second period, they were sitting at roughly 1.4 expected goals. They did not start putting on the pressure. They did not start playing until the third period. And Buffalo, they were sitting on they got that third goal and they were sitting on it. Look, no shot attempts at all happening from the Sabres. Edmonton, they push. Almost 2 full expected goals in the third period. They tie it late, and then Buffalo ends up winning it in overtime. Now, a lot of fans, or not a lot, but there was a few fans being like, hey, do you think the Oilers should have rested their top guns and started someone else in overtime? Because the top guns had played a ton late in the third period trying to tie the game. I wouldn't have been against that. you got to trust other players to not give up a goal in overtime. I know you're going for the kill shot like instantly, or you want your big guns out there as soon as OT starts. And yes, they had that little 5-minute break after regulation, so they should not be tired. But they played a lot in that third period. It is possible they didn't quite have the legs. Maybe they could have went with a couple speedier options in overtime on the ice. Maybe you could have had Nurse, Savoy, and I don't know, someone else just to, cover the first 30 seconds of OT, maybe get a scoring chance and then get off and then get the big guns on. I don't know. I'm not going to overanalyze it. The player that played the least amount tonight was David Tomashek, 541. He took a penalty that Chris Knobloch decided, I'm not going to play you for the rest of this game. Frederick only played 657. Curtis Lazar, 817. The Oilers bench got shortened in the third period because they were trying to tie this game up. Stuart Skinner, now it says an 889, but he gave up 4 goals. It says 3 goals against, so Money Puck has not updated. It was 4 goals against on 28 shots for Stu, who came into this game. He had only given up 3 goals in his last 3 games. Tonight, not his best night. I'm going to give Stu a lot of credit here. That 5-on-3 that Buffalo had, Stu made big saves. He made a couple. There was one specific cross-crease save where he came across on the one-timer to his right, and he made a great save. So I will give Stu credit for that. We'll take a look at the box score just to take a look at who had some points, who was pluses, who was minuses, and then we're just going to wrap things up. McDavid had 2 points. He was a +2. Draisaitl, 1 point, +2. Podkolzin, who I thought had a great game. Loved Podkolzin's goal early in the third period. Nugent Hopkins had an assist. He continues his strong play as well. Zach Hyman was a +2. Did not figure in on the scoring. Played 23-24. And then if you take a look at Bouchard, he was a +1 tonight. He had 1 bad giveaway for a goal against. And then, of course, in overtime, we're all frustrated with what happened there. He ended up playing 28-01. For all the silly replays that you see of Bouchard where, a mistake happens, Bouchard really does do a lot of good things. So I'm not going to be hard on Bouchard tonight. Was it a poor read in overtime from all 3 players? Yes, but this is not on Bouch. Ekholm had an assist. Emberson had an assist. I liked Emberson's game, but he did only play 13-22. Looks like Knobloch he really shortened the bench. Darnell Nurse played less than 20 minutes tonight. I don't know. This time on ice is wild, man. The disparity between Tomashek and that's 20 minutes difference. Tomashek only had 10 shifts in this game. My goodness gracious. Is this a game to be incredibly frustrated and rip our hair out and scream into the void? Is it worth doing that tonight? Maybe for some of you. I'm frustrated. I expressed my frustration on Twitter tonight, and at the end of the day, just got to take a breath. Just got to breathe. It's just a game. Beat Detroit on Thursday, and you've taken 7 out of 10 points on the homestand. That's what I wanted. I wanted 3 out of 4 points in the last 2 games. If they do that, that is 7 out of 10 points on the 5-game homestand. That will be considered a success to me if they can find a way to beat Detroit. Not going to be easy. Detroit's a pretty tough team. Detroit's a team where, if you're not on your A game, which the Oilers weren't on their A game, B game, C game, or D game until the third period. And I would argue they were on their B game in the third period trying to impress. They never once had their A game tonight. Buffalo had their A game for 40 minutes. Then they had their C game for the final third trying to defend that lead. It's a tough one. If Edmonton beats Detroit Thursday, though, we're all laughing. 7 out of 10 points on the homestand would be the best case scenario. A regulation loss would be worst case scenario because that means they went 500 on a 5-game homestand, which would be completely unacceptable in my opinion. This team has a lot of work to do to instill confidence that they are quote-unquote back, right? I made that video a couple days ago asking, hey, are the Oilers back? And then I went through their stats from the regular season and then their last 10 games. Have the Oilers played better in their last 10 games? Absolutely they have. Have they played better to the point where I can say the season has been turned around and that they are going to win 3 out of every 4 for the next few weeks and get themselves into a top 3 spot in the Pacific and we're all laughing going into the Olympic break? Absolutely not. This team has a lot more to prove. The goaltending still has a lot more to prove. The defense has a lot more to prove. The forward group, the depth, still a lot more to prove here. Won't get too worked up, though. Not going to get too worked up. I was kind of animated tonight because I had a lot of energy. So if you did enjoy tonight's postgame fan reaction, hit the like button. If you really liked it, subscribe to the channel. I'll have a day after discussion up sometime tomorrow. Can't guarantee what time. Maybe sometime in the early afternoon. Not quite sure yet. We'll see how much sleep I end up getting. So we'll see you all soon, Oil Country. Tell us that you love them. And as always, fight like a kid. Fight like Ben. Let's go Oilers. We'll see you in the next one, folks. Take care.